Welcome back in Alive Now. I'm Austin Westfall. Here's the breaking news. Iran's state TV says Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated in Tehran. This is a developing story. We're learning more by the minute. Alon Burstein standing by to help us break down what this means for the Israel-Hamas war, what this means for the wider Middle East. Alon, as always, thank you for joining us. First off, who is Haniyeh? How important is this?
Good to see you, Austin. This may be the biggest development since the war began, or at least one of the bigger developments. It could be a critical juncture. We'll talk about to which direction, because that really is right now up for question. In general, Ismail Haniyeh is the external leader of Hamas, which makes him the effective leader of Hamas. The Hamas leadership is divided between the external leadership and the internal leadership, primarily due to actual security reasons. I mean, it's sort of weird to talk about today, but historically, the external leadership was considered safer, was considered a more a location where you could be a political figure of the movement and be somewhat protected from Israel's assassinations. And thus, the external leadership over the years took on a more active role and became the political leadership and the overarching leader of the movement. The internal leadership, historically, has been always subordinate to the external leadership. Ismail Haniyeh himself used to be Hamas's internal leader, and he moved out of Gaza in 2016, 2017, because he was elected to be the external leader. In that sense, one could argue the leader of Hamas has been killed, even though there's two leaders, there's Yahya Sinwar and Ismail Haniyeh. The official leader has been killed, and in that sense, it's a game changer. And I'm going to say this on the one hand. On the other hand, there is also a very different story going on at the same time. The Israel-Hamas war has changed the balance of power within Hamas. Like I said, historically, the external leadership has always been the important one. It's always been the one that called the shots. It's been the one that in 2014, the internal leadership in Gaza did not want to go to ceasefire when it was having an escalation with Israel. The external leadership forced it to. This war changed things. In this war, the internal leadership, led by Yahya Sinwar, has challenged the external leadership. It rose to prominence. The external leadership, Ismail Haniyeh was the one who was actually negotiating in the hostage negotiations. But realistically, he could not promise anything. He kept on saying, yes, we'll agree to those terms. And then he would go and ask the internal leadership, is that okay? Will you call a truce if that's the case? So the balance of power shifted a little bit. In that sense, this is a major blow to Hamas on the one hand. On the other hand, how much effect will it actually have in the fighting on the ground really remains now to be seen when it comes to the internal political struggles within Hamas, who's going to take the leadership. Because historically in the past, right now, his deputy, the external leader, would take the leadership automatically. That's how it happened in the past when one of them was assassinated or just died in office. But right now, it's unclear who's going to be the leader. Is it going to be Yahya Sinwar in Gaza, or is it going to be someone external? And that's going to be really what determines the way the war goes.
There has been no official confirmation that Israel was responsible for the strike, but you and I know that there really isn't anybody else out there that's capable of such a thing. So what is the significance of a strike of this nature taking place inside Iran proper, in Tehran?
I would predict, or I don't predict, I expect that Israel is not going to take responsibility for this, which is notably different than the previous big assassination that happened today in Lebanon, right? Of Fuad Shukur, number 2, and Hezbollah. There, Israel took responsibility very, very proudly. The Minister of Defense, the Chief of Staff in Israel, all said the IDF did it. Here, the situation is a little bit different for several reasons. First, international law. International law. If you carry out an assassination in another capital, in specifically, in another country, and specifically the capital of that country, Iran has a lot of friends and has a lot of power that could wield in the UN. It's friends with Russia. And it could actually lead to a lot of problems diplomatically for Israel if Israel were to admit, yes, it did that. That's reason number one, that Israel's likely to not actually take responsibility for this, as opposed to how it took responsibility for the assassination in Lebanon. Number two is letting Iran not react, quote unquote. What we saw already back in April is when a country takes responsibility for something, then the other country that was attacked needs to almost save face and needs to react to some extent. What we saw in the escalations between Israel and Iran back in April is Israel carried out the attack in the in the Iranian consulate in Syria. Then Iran admittedly carried out the attack in Israel. Israel retaliated, but it never took responsibility. It never said that it actually carried out the attack in Iran. And that is why the situation spiraled down. Because Iran could say an attack happened, we don't know what, we don't know who, and we don't need to retaliate against the enemy that attacked in our territory. Very likely, even though the Iranian media is going to blame Israel, the government, what's actually going to happen, very likely we're going to see Iran be very happy that Israel does not take responsibility and Israel not taking responsibility so that Iran is not sort of forced, quote unquote, to save face and retaliate for an attack in its own territory. So that's in terms of the importance of where it took place.
Alone, we're hearing from Joe Truzman. He's with the FDD. He says that this is a significant win for Israeli intelligence in the last 12 hours, as it has eliminated Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh and top Hezbollah commander Fuad Shukri. So, is there any parallels to be drawn between these two events happening within 12 hours of each other, or is it too early to say anything like that?
I'd say that it's very, very significant that they happened within the same day. And it is very, very likely that Israel is trying to send a message that, as far as it's concerned, the Israel Hamas war going on in Gaza can keep going. But it is sending a warning signal to the regional actors. Because again, the Hamas external leadership is more the regional actor, as is Hezbollah. With this escalation that happened in northern Israel in Majd al-Shams, Israel's sending a message back saying, look, be advised, all bets are off. All bets are off. We are willing to burn the region down, so to speak, when it comes to the proxy war between Israel and the different sub-state actors. All bets are off, all but assassinating the leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, which would have led to a regional escalation. There would be no way around that. So all but that, Israel's willing to say we can take it up a notch. Almost like, I've often said, you want to play, let's play. That is the significance of doing both of these things on the same day. They're saying the war is going on. The war in Gaza is going on, and again, in the immediate, it's not going to be affected by this. The IDF is carrying out an operation in central Gaza in El Bureij. It just pulled out of Han Yunis today. The war is going on as far as Israel is concerned, but Israel's sending a message to the region. If you're going to escalate, such as we saw in northern Israel and Majd al-Shams, Israel's willing to take the next steps of escalation. And it's sending that both to Hezbollah, both to the regional leaders of Hamas. If I was Ziad Nahallah, the leader of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, I'd be worried tonight. I don't think that Israel is going to manage to carry out a third assassination of such high profile, but I'd be worried because equally, in taking out Ismail Haniyeh, they could have taken out Ziad Nahallah, the leader of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, also living in exile, who was also in Tehran, by the way, very recently. So, actually, Tehran yesterday with Ismail Haniyeh. So, in that sense, Israel's sending a message to the region saying if there's more regional escalations, we can take them on. I want to say one more thing, all right, about Ismail Haniyeh. Important to note that he rose to prominence also as a result of these types of assassinations. The leaders of Hamas, Ahmed Yassin and Abdulaziz Rantisi, were assassinated back during the height of the Second Intifada. This is in 2003, 2004. The leaders of Hamas were assassinated, and the deputy was also assassinated, and then Hamas was left without a leadership. And at that point, Ismail Haniyeh started to rise to power. And he has been, beyond his importance now, the symbolic importance of him is very, very great. He was the successor after the founding spiritual leader, Ahmed Yassin. When Hamas was elected to power in 2006, he was the prime minister. He was the legitimate Palestinian prime minister elected in democratic elections of the Hamas movement. He then, after there was a divide in the Hamas government and he was dismissed of office by Palestinian Authority chairman, he then continued to lead Hamas until he left Gaza because he even elevated to higher position and being the leader of Hamas. In that sense, it is true. I stand behind what I said that it may not have such a direct effect on the fighting forces on the ground, but in terms of the movement, in terms of how this will affect the sort of the motivation of the movement and the feeling of supremacy that the movement has had, given that it's been able to challenge Israel for so long, that is going to suffer quite a blow. The big thing to look at right now is going to be the power struggles within Hamas. Ismail Haniyeh Sorry, I'll let you ask a question. I'm just going on.
My big question is how have figures like Haniyeh been do we know how figures like Haniyeh have been in contact with figures like Yahya Sinwar? Do we know how that communication channel works?
We don't know the mechanisms of how actually. I mean, there's all kinds of rumors of different shadow figures that go and give messages here and there. We know that they're in contact. We know that they're in close contact. But the big thing to remember is that at the same time, Yahya Sinwar and Ismail Haniyeh were in rivalry. They were in rivalry throughout the war over the internal leadership of Hamas, who calls the shots. Yahya Sinwar formally is subordinate to Ismail Haniyeh. However, it's also important to note Ismail Haniyeh did not know about October 7th before it happened. He learned about it half an hour before the attack was launched. That was all launched by Yahya Sinwar. So that tells you something about, on the one hand, Sinwar is subordinate to him, on the other, really calling the shots when it comes to how the movement operates. And they've been in competition because Ismail Haniyeh reportedly, in negotiations that occurred several months ago, wanted to be more moderate. He wanted to take a step towards allowing for a ceasefire to let Hamas rebuild. Whereas at the same time, Yahya Sinwar said, no, we're continuing the fight. And Ismail Haniyeh had absolutely no mechanisms to enforce that. He's from afar. He had no mechanisms to enforce upon Yahya Sinwar and the internal leadership in the Gaza Strip, but we're going to go to a ceasefire. Now he's been eliminated. The question is, who is going to take his place? Is it going to be the normal chain of command, in which case it would be his deputies in the external leadership, possibly Musa Abu Marzouk, possibly Khalid Mashal? Or are they going to realize that they actually do not have that much power vis-a-vis the internal leadership? And are they going to declare, you know what? Yahya Sinwar, the internal leader, you are now the leader. If that happens, again, we're looking at big game changers in the war, regardless of what happens. The internal struggles within Hamas in the coming week or weeks are going to really determine where the war goes right now.
So there's been so much concern about a wider war throughout the course of this fight since October 7th. We've watched this major news out of Hezbollah earlier today, and now we hear about this major news out of Iran. In your opinion alone, what type of escalation would meet the threshold to trigger some sort of wider activity? Does it feel like what we've been seeing in the past 24 hours meets that frightening threshold in any way?
So when I spoke to Karel a couple of days ago, I said that Israel has a couple of options of retaliation, and that among them, it could be a what I call a photogenic retaliation, which is lots of bombs going off in Beirut, to what was happening up north, or it could be high-profile assassinations, which send a message to the groups, but also run a smaller risk when it comes to escalations, because now it's really up to the groups, right? Hezbollah right now is under monumental pressure from France, Germany, international communities, most importantly from Lebanon, to not escalate. Hezbollah has taken its blow. Fuad Shukri is dead. And now Hezbollah can launch an all-out war, or it cannot. It's really up to it. But it doesn't need to do it, so to speak, in order to save face with its followers. It's not the same as if they assassinated the top leader, Hassan Nasrallah, or I'm looking at all the leaders of the different groups, so I'm confused there. It's not the same as if they assassinated the top leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah, or if there was such a photogenic bombing that occurred in Beirut that Hezbollah, quote unquote, had to respond. So Hezbollah, similarly within Hamas. Within Hamas right now, there's a choice. Israel, like I said, is probably not going to take responsibility for this. Hamas has a limit to how much it can escalate the war further. Hamas is really throwing all its weight into the war. Regional actors could retaliate in an all-out escalation. I doubt that that'll happen in response to the assassination of Hamas's leader. Iran does not want to be embroiled in an all-out regional escalation as a result of this. A big fear that a lot of people are raising in response to this is the hostages. Hamas is still holding, according to some estimates, 50 live hostages. According to other estimates, more live hostages. And a lot of people are saying, is Hamas's retaliation going to be to execute hostages in response to the assassination of their leader? That's a question. Hamas historically has never executed hostages. Hostages of Hamas have been killed in rescue operations when the IDF tried to rescue them and they were killed. But Hamas historically has not executed hostages. It preferred to have live hostages. There were a couple of cases where they kidnapped people and killed them and then demanded all kinds of ransom. But live hostages that they were bargaining for historically, they've never executed. But then again, they never carried out on October 7th either. So in that sense, I don't exactly know if they're going to go in that route. I will say historically they have not. But I think that that's a bigger danger right now, and the biggest game changer is going to be how does this affect the hostage negotiations and the truce talks. Regional escalations as a result of this, I doubt we'll see. We may see some militias carrying out more activities, but we're unlikely to see an explosion in the Middle East as a result of this, due to the circumstances, and again, due to the fact that Israel's not going to accept responsibility, likely.
This is breaking out of Iran. The news 12 hours ago was breaking out of Lebanon. What's going on in Gaza as all this is taking place alone?
In Gaza, the fighting is going on. The fighting is going on almost as if it's a separate arena, right? The Israel-Hamas war is going on in the Gaza Strip between the IDF and Hamas. All of these other arenas are going on, but meanwhile, that's almost this insular bubble. There, we are seeing the IDF carried out a major operation in Han Yunis, the biggest southern town in the Gaza Strip. The IDF had pulled out of Han Yunis in April, and then 2 weeks ago, it all of a sudden launched another operation into Han Yunis. And this operation was significant because it narrowed down the humanitarian zone. It forced Palestinians again to relocate because the IDF had identified, at least in one case, that the bodies of 5 hostages were being held in a tunnel in that humanitarian zone, and they went in and retrieved them. What happened all of a sudden today? The IDF pulled out of Han Yunis, very surprisingly. Everyone expected that the IDF was going to be carrying out a major operation to stop Hamas's attempts to rebuild there. They pulled out of Han Yunis. Maybe they're anticipating or fearful of an escalation. I don't want to be embroiled there. But Han Yunis right now, there's no IDF troops there as opposed to 24 hours ago. The main fighting is still going on in Rafah. Tel Sultan is proven to be the most fortified place that Hamas had. The IDF has been trying to take it over by now for over 2 months and still fighting going on. And really, we have to keep an eye out for the central parts of the Gaza Strip. In the central parts of the Gaza Strip, there's the refugee camps, Al Bureij, Al Maghazi, and Al Nuseirat. There's also a major city, Deir el-Balah, where the IDF has not gone into yet. And just 2 days ago, the IDF issued evacuation orders to Palestinians from certain areas of Al Bureij refugee camp, an area in and around the big city. But the IDF has not gone into that yet, and I find it very hard to believe that the IDF is going to consider its operation complete without going in there. So it may be turning its attention to there, but that's what we're looking to in the coming weeks, I'd say.
Have there been, speaking of Hamas leadership, has there been any reports, any leaks as of late to indicate that there's any movement on the search for Yahya Sinwar?
I haven't seen any. Yahya Sinwar is proving to be very, very elusive. He knows the Israeli leadership very well. He knows the IDF very well. Him and Mohammad Def were, the 2 most elusive figures in the Gaza Strip. We still don't have confirmation that Mohammad Def was assassinated. The IDF tried to assassinate him. There were a lot of reports suggesting that he was very likely assassinated. We know that Hamas's division brigade of Han Yunis was sitting next to him in this meeting, and he was assassinated. That's confirmed. So very likely, Def was assassinated too. We don't know that for sure yet, though. The IDF has not confirmed that, and Hamas has not confirmed that either. And like we see with what happened to Ismail Haniyeh, Hamas does tend to confirm when their people are killed. So the fact that they haven't said anything about that, we don't know. Similarly, Yahya Sinwar, we don't know where he is. There's all kinds of rumors that he's so secluded from what's happening, that he's so paranoid, hidden in a tunnel somewhere, and that's why he's actually continuing the war, because he's so secluded he doesn't actually know what's going on above ground. That's a rumor. I don't tend to believe that because I think that Yahya Sinwar values intelligence very, very much. And I think that he wants to know what's going on and has very good intelligence sources. Honestly, if you ask me to place a bet, knowing nothing about any intelligence reports, just from what I've been reading, I would bet that he is hiding in Han Yunis. I think that the IDF went into Han Yunis and left Han Yunis, and I think that he managed to hide there somewhere. It is his hometown. He is very, very passionate about Han Yunis. He always has been. He's always said that he'll die there. And while a lot of people expected him to be hiding out in Rafah, sort of the last stronghold, I think he's probably hiding in a tunnel somewhere in Han Yunis, and it remains to be seen. But there's been no new news on the hunt for him, it becoming more successful or less successful. Like,
Two high profile figures taken out within the span of 12 hours alone. What does this say about the capabilities of Israeli intelligence?
well, one of the things that was very surprising about October 7th, right, and the monumental failure of Israeli intelligence on October 7th was the level of capability and intelligence that the IDF, the Mossad, the Shabak have in the region. You know, the IDF carries out airstrikes every day in Lebanon, targeting Hezbollah infrastructure, targeting different Hezbollah operatives. How do you know which operative is where? You know, to manage to carry out a drone attack that kills a person on a motorbike, you have to have operatives on the ground who tell you the person has left his home. You have to have all kinds of surveillance cameras to tell you that there aren't kids around there at that moment. You have to have capabilities in the airspace. The IDF has this. It has this regionally. When the IDF, or sorry, when Israel, not necessarily the IDF, carried out the retaliation in Iran, that was done with drones against the air defenses around Iran's nuclear capabilities. One of the things that we spoke about back then is that that was likely carried out from within Iran. And if we think about that for a minute, that means that the Mossad, the Israeli equivalent of the CIA, has agents in Iran that not only can operate freely, they have drones, suicide drones, attack drones that they can launch within Iran. The fact that Israel has this intelligence on a regional level is not surprising. Israel has had so much intelligence, and Israel's famed for its Mossad intelligence and its military intelligence. What appeared to sort of blow up in Israel's face on October 7th is it invested so much in the regional intelligence because it thought that Hamas was contained. It thought that the Palestinian arena was calm. So it invested far more in the regional intelligence. In that sense, it's not that surprising that Israel seems to know where the deputies of Hezbollah are and what apartment they're in, specifically targeting the window of that apartment. They seem to be able to carry an assassination in Tehran, yet the Gaza Strip, where the IDF has thousands of troops and should have the most intelligence, as we just said, they don't even know if Mohammed Def is dead or not, let alone where Yahya Sinwar is. In that sense, it's not surprising, but it is the failure of IDF intelligence in this war.
Alone, we will leave it there for now. So many major developments in the past 12 hours. We'll leave it there. Take care. Have a good night.
Have a good night.